Train, 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 train lover 16. The train, for its size, is the fastest vehicle on land. And the locomotives of Redcliff Loco Yard are the power behind the stations, industries and train lines that make up the well-renowned Redcliff and Guinea Bridge Railway. This is Redcliff Railway Tales. It had never been a busier time for the Redcliff and Guinea Bridge Railway. The Eric building was still under construction and all the engines were still working extra hard.
Now listen closely. We are number one.
Because of this, Brian, the little yellow diesel shunter, had to shunt way more trains than usual. This was tiring him out, but he was not willing to accept that. One day, Mr. Eric, the RNGR's manager, came to see Brian as he was getting worried about how much Brian was pushing himself. Hello, Brian. You seem very tired. Is all this extra shunting pressuring you?
Mr. Eric, I can assure you that I'm fine. There is nothing wrong with all this extra shunting at all. I can definitely handle it.
Are you sure, Brian? You seem very worn out to me.
Mr. Eric, I am fine. I don't need any extra help.
Okay then, Brian. If you insist, I'll leave you alone now to get on with your shunting work. See you later, Brian.
Goodbye, Mr. Eric.
Then Mr. Eric made his way back towards Redcliff Station.
Here's a little lesson in trickery. This is going down.
When he got back onto the platform, Robert had just arrived back from one of his passenger runs. Morning, Robert. How are you this morning? I'm doing okay, Mr. Eric. Why do you ask? It's just that I heard a funny noise coming from your brakes as you came into the station just now. I think you should have them checked, just to be on the safe side. Mr. Eric, I think they're fine. They just need a little oil, that's all. Well, okay then, Robert. But don't blame me if you end up having an accident like some of the other engines on this railway. Don't worry, sir. That is definitely not going to happen. I'd best be off now. See you later, Mr. Eric. Bye, Robert. And with that, Robert departed for his next run of the day. Robert was completely confident that nothing was wrong with him, and he soon forgot about the funny noise from his brakes. When he reached Guinea Bridge Junction, Dennis was there. He noticed Robert's brake noise as well.
Robert, have you noticed any funny noises coming from underneath your wheels?
Yes, I have, Dennis, and I am not worrying about them.
Why not, Robert? They don't sound good to me.
Because I'm sure they're fine. So what if there's a little noise coming from them?
Well, okay then, Robert. Just don't blame me if your brakes fail.
Dennis, my brakes are not going to fail, okay? I must be off now. I can't keep my passengers waiting. See you later, Dennis.
Just be careful, Robert.
Robert ignored Dennis and set off back towards Redcliff. He still didn't worry about his funny brake noise and soon came to the Bexgate flyover. He was used to the hill and crested up it without any problems. But then he tried to brake for the downhill stretch and there was hardly any response. To his horror, Robert realised that his brakes were no longer working. He couldn't slow down. He shot straight down the Bexgate flyover and flew around all the bends. He was going so fast that his passengers were nearly knocked out of their seats. He raced right through Redcliff Station and past Max.
Robert, slow down. You're going too fast.
I can't slow down. Then, disaster. Robert was diverted off the main line and towards the rolling stock yard. He flew and crashed off the tracks at the sharp curve just after the point. Most of Robert's passengers escaped without serious injury, but Robert was in a lot of pain. Just at that moment, Jacob arrived on the scene, pulling the picnic flyer. Oh my god, Robert, are you alright? Yeah, I'm mostly alright. I'll get help right away. Jacob raced off up to the station. Luckily, he was able to find Mr. Eric on the platform. Mr. Eric, sir! Robert's had an accident! He's come off the tracks just outside the rolling stock yard. Oh no, I told him to get his brakes checked. We'd better go and get him back on the tracks again then. Go and fetch Colin the maintenance crane, Jacob. I'll meet you down there shortly. Alright then, Mr. Eric. Jacob uncoupled from his train and hurried backwards to fetch Colin. They were soon on the accident site and Colin set to work lifting Robert back onto the rails. Mr. Eric, meanwhile, went to have a few stern words with Robert. I'm very disappointed in you, Robert. I did tell you to go and get your brakes checked. I'm sorry, sir. Why didn't I listen to anyone? I don't know, Robert. Just don't do it again, okay? Alright then, sir. It's not going to happen again. Colin began lifting Robert back onto the tracks. But just at that moment, Robert noticed something rather strange. Something unusually shaped sticking out from underneath the Redcliff Mountain, from which the town was named after. Sir, what's that thing sticking out from underneath the foot of the mountain? Oh, I don't think I have ever seen that before. I think we should have a closer look at this. Colin, do you think you can try and get whatever that is from under the mountain?
Of course, Mr. Eric, sir. I can get on with that immediately.
Oh my god, Colin, you talked. You haven't said a single word to anyone for years.
Well, no one else has ever said a single word to me. I guess I just had nothing to say to anyone up until now.
Yes, well, can you please try and get that thing out now?
Certainly, sir.
Colin immediately set to work trying to get the thing out from underneath the mountain, but his claw arm wouldn't reach far enough.
Sir, it can't reach far enough to grab the object.
Try using your electromagnet, Colin. Maybe then you'll be able to pull it out.
Alright then, sir.
Robert was moved out of the way. Then the workman fitted Colin's electromagnet to his arm and he switched it on. It was hard for him at first, but the more he increased the power, the more easily the object moved. Finally, the object came out and stuck to Colin's magnet, and to everyone's amazement, this object was actually a very old-looking electric locomotive. Hello there. What's your name?
Hello there, sir. It's very nice to meet you. My name is Emma.
Very nice to meet you too, Emma. My name is Mr. Eric, and I am the General Manager of the Redcliff and Guinea Bridge Railway. What were you doing underneath the mountain?
Well, I've probably been under this mountain for a very long time. What year is this?
2017.
2017! That means I've been here for 50 years.
50 years? Of course! You're an engine of the old Redcliff Mountain Railway, the one that closed in 1967.
Yes, it did close that year. I had an accident during the railway's last leg of operation. I overshot the Summit Station's platform and fell right off the mountain. Luckily, the coaches didn't fall off, and the passengers were alright. But as the railway was closing, they saw no real point in preparing me, so they buried me underneath the mountain and left me there. I've been under here ever since, but you found me. It only feels like I've slept for a night, as if time travels 50 years into the future.
That sounds very interesting, Emma, but listen here, you are just what we need to help with all this extra shunting work we are dealing with at the moment. So, how would you like to become an official part of our railway?
Really, Mr. Eric? You'd let me do that? I would be more than honoured to, sir.
Excellent. We shall have you taken up to the rolling stock yard to be fixed up at once. Colin loaded Emma onto his flat pot, then Jacob took them up to the rolling stock yard. Well, here she is, Robert. So what do you think of this great discovery, man? I think she's amazing, Jacob. She will be a very fine addition to our locomotive fleet. Just at that moment, Brian came into the rolling stock yard.
I say everyone, what's that thing on Colin?
Well, Brian, that's your new co-worker. Her name is Emma.
Mr. Eric, I told you, I don't need any goddamn help.
Well, I think you do. So we have brought her here to be fixed up so she can help you with all your shunting work. Yeah, Brian, I think you should at the very least give her a chance. Who knows, maybe you'll end up liking her.
Oh, alright then, but I'm telling you all, this is a huge mistake.
Things would get off to a tricky start with Brian and Emma at first, but eventually they would learn to like each other. But that's a story for another day.